G'day everybody, I'm Alan Endres, founder of ZuCoins and ZuCaz, and it's ZuTime. Today is the 21st of September. This is episode number 6, and I'm a bit excited about talking about today. It's all part and parcel of the overall theme that we have, which is all about creating and expanding a mass adoption of ZuCoins, putting it into an ecosystem which we've got working through called ZuCaz, as you can see today, ZuCaz there. And it's all about, there we go, I'll keep that there so you can remember the name. It's all about, with that database expansion, how do we infuse lots of product lines that increase the turnover? And circling back to my episode 4, because the more people that we have on the ZuCoin network, the more peers, the more transactions, the more volume, the more usage, of course, we slot into that nice little formula, which we talked about, MV equals PT, which gives us a price distinction somewhere between, we hope, more than $100 a coin and working our way through to knocking the hell out of Bitcoin for obvious reasons. So before I start, just an update on the progress of the wallets. We had a pretty good result. We've got about 20% of people that were just in different age brackets of the 30 wallets struggling a bit with the first step being receipt, not so much receipt of the SMS, but they've got it, but just getting their head around how to add that to their homepage. Because remember, everybody, we've deliberately gone down the road of a PWA, which is a progressive web app, which means it's in itself is decentralized through the web application. We're not using or reliant upon the iStore or Google stores for you to go and get a wallet. It's automatically done and progressed via SMS through to your wallets, which means that you need to get the icon appearing on your homepage, which has the same look and feel as though you would have downloaded from the stores. The beautiful part about that, of course, is that we're not governed or controlled once it's released by any third party, neither in terms of the way it's processed peer-to-peer, and neither in terms of the wallet or any other functionalities that occur as a result of that, which means it can't be taken down, there can't be fees and charges added by the powerhouse companies that dominate the aggregation in the world, and it allows open source developers to come in and treat the coin for whatever purposes they wish as well. And we're doing the same, as you know. I keep talking about ZuCaz and how we're going to use the value propositions in that regard. The tutorials, we're doing some fine tuning again. There'll be another lot going out in that regard because we want to make sure that people are right on top of that. So in our staff meetings this morning, we've decided that we'll send out another 10 wallets, which we'll randomly select and see if we can bump up that first part of that process that we know people get the link through the SMS, and now we want to make sure that they can understand how to get that icon up so they can open up their wallets whenever they like with those transactions, of course. So we'll keep pushing ahead with that. Now, today's topic, everybody, is all about another type of product line through ZuCaz, which is what everybody's been hearing about, which is NFTs. Now, as you recall, in episode 5, we talked about virtual real estate, and that's an exciting opportunity in itself. But NFTs sort of layer themselves over the virtual real estate concept by allowing the peers, that is the consumers and the merchants who are in the network, to create some value propositions and transact those items amongst themselves. Now, for those that are a bit uncertain about NFTs and the concepts, look, an NFT is another one of those glorified terms that was designed by some crypto geek that decided we need to create a new name, a fresh name, which they're amazing how these guys can come up with these terms when in fact, there's probably simpler ways of treating and passing the message to the masses rather than their sort of inner circle of the crypto space, which I laugh about. But in this instance, NFT is non-fungible token. Now, for all its glorified intents and purposes, it's really just sending a message to you that it's a digital asset, which we know that the ZuCoins and the the crypto, which is a digital asset allowing people to transfer value, which is the monetary side of things. Whereas the old NFTs is just a digital asset that's creating a record using blockchain. And I'm not here to be judged by others whether I'm a guru in this or not. It's just my understanding and what's communicated to me through my gurus internally in the IT space, and my interpretation. So you can certainly look it up yourselves. Just search NFT, how it works, what it is, and what it means. But it's a glorified digital asset where it's unique. So from our perspective, I've decided that because we're putting this out as part of the ZuCas platform as another product line to increase again transactional turnover of the ZuCoins, the number of users, and fitting in with that supply on an ecosystem that we say, tens of millions of people would be using the product to make obviously the value enhancement of the coin on the one hand, and of course these digital assets on the other. So I've decided that we'll make up our own term moving forward, which is a bit more user-friendly with our database and the Zuconian community that we're strongly building, and we'll just call them UDAs. Now, a UDA is simply a unique digital asset. That seems to make perfect sense to me. It's not a crypto, it's not a Bitcoin, it's not a ZuCoin, it's not an Ethereum. It's separate to that space, and technically it's different because it is unique. So what they're saying is that any form of digital data, which would be your pictures, your video, even your data that's contained within a Twitter account or the tweets themselves or any of those sort of social media formats, you can store that digital data. And essentially what happens is you go to, initially there's other blockchains, but you take Ethereum and you create within that smart contract environment where you create a hash that allows you to identify or point to a reference point of where that data, that digital data, is uniquely stored somewhere. Generally, it's pointing to somewhere on the web, if you like, for that photo, or it could be this video that we're doing now. So the Ethereum would implode if it tried to contain both the picture and a unique reference, if you like, to that particular item, that particular digital form of data. So the blockchain of Ethereum doesn't allow the picture or the image to be contained within the block itself. It's simply saying that if I've produced and want to produce a unique picture or image, that the blockchain will verify that with a pointer to where that would be housed, that picture, uniquely somewhere on the server. Now, that lends itself to a few problems because we all go excited and we hear big dollars have been paid and people are paying millions of dollars for unique images, these so-called NFTs, or in our world, UDAs, unique digital assets. And people want things that are unique, but they also want longevity, the ability that these things will last in the long term. And that's the problem where this could end up, that you could have pay a substantial price for a unique digital asset and think that you've got it, but you realize that it's dependent upon where that particular digital form is residing, whereabouts on the web it's residing, whose server it's on. And you've got to find comfort then with the party that has minted, so-called minted or produced that unique image with that unique verification, if you like, or reference point through the blockchain. Now, that's where the problems start, because the industry itself has got to one step and hasn't sort of moved itself forward as to say, well, gee, I'd be a bit nervous if I'd spent, whether it's $1,000 or whether it's, $100,000 on something that you think you've got your hands on, and it turns out that you can't even find that reference point to see the image that you believe was unique, which you want to unsell. So I'm just going to quote from a couple of very verifiable sources about that problem in the industry. so that you really get a picture of that, and you'll see where I'm coming from with the use of split chain and how we can solve that secondary problem of the long-term storage of these UDAs, unique digital assets, which makes them far more valuable and makes them far more easily tradable, which again comes back to the ability to buy and sell these UDAs through the ZuCas network through our trading platform, and in fact allows you as the consumer to produce and mint your own UDAs, which you then in your own communities can sell and make money. And of course, the same goes with the merchants. But I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. I just want to read this to you, everybody, that on the web, as we all know it, you have addresses that points to locations. Now, there's a specific website and a specific file on that website with some data sits. Now, in terms of, without going in the great technical detail here, it simply says in summary that, in short, the NFT, or the UDA in our case, tells you where the content lives at the time it was minted. Now, that content being a picture or video. The standard isn't trying to enforce some concept of persistence or control of that data in terms of preserving it, but that's something, quote, that the industry needs to seriously look at and work itself out in the near, not too distant future. Now, there's a red flag there that people running off. If you think crypto is hugely speculative in terms of the coin environments, well, just have another think about how speculative it is going out buying an NFT or UDA, that you may very well find that whilst it's in the Ethereum blockchain and has a pointer as to where the picture or image that you've uniquely purchased resides on someone's server, it may very well not be there. You may find that you've just lost all your money in one hit because the participant who's minted it just isn't strong enough. Now, they say that the solution to that, everybody, is where, let me just, if you take the NBA Top Spot, now the basketball site is getting covered by ESPN, which is great, and it's prioritizing user experience and simply pushing out these UDAs or NFTs. And the concept is that because they are a big organization and they have the support and backing with the maintenance of their servers, and as a result of that, they can create these value propositions for sale, the consumer comes along and buys them. Now, at the end of the day, even though you have something unique because of the structure of the Ethereum blockchain, the reality is, and quote, the reliance on you getting access to your NBA item, collector's item, is that you can rely on it, the NBA being a well-funded company, which is in relatively little danger of vanishing over the weekend. Well, when you're stumping up big money, let me say this, the industry hasn't thought this through. It hasn't thought through the concept of how to maintain the integrity of that data, that UDA, for the benefit of those that are purchasing and paying serious money when they believe they have the retention of that unique image or video or contract or whatever it is that's connected as a result of that. So unlike the ZuCoin through the split chain, which we've gone through the processes there, we are very, very comfortable in the coin concept that you, the peer, can always get retention on the network of your coins. You know, you don't need to rely on miners. You don't need to validate the process through miners or third parties, which is proof of work. You do not need proof of stake, which again, there's another layer when you buy a UDA or NFT through the Ethereum network. And there's other blockchains that would be in place on this. So the reality is you're relying on, in that world of these collectibles, one, the proof of stake, that is those that in the Ethereum world that need to validate the entry point of that content into the blockchain. So that's the first problem. And the second is, where the hell is it stored? So the due diligence is that, yes, you can go to OpenSeas and yes, you can download wallets that are specific for so-called retention of your security of the NFT or UDA. But the reality is there's a gaping hole because you're only retaining what is the pointer from that blockchain to some other location of where that collectible is being held. Now, the conclusion in this particular report, it's an in-depth report, and I just invite you to do your own search and homework on this, because you've actually got to ask the question when you search, where is the NFT actually stored, or the UDA? Where is it actually stored? So you need to look at that search component. And the conclusion is, our recommendation is as follows. It may be worth you doing some serious due diligence on where the content lives online. It may be a one-stop shop. So you may find that some wonderful little characters are out there. If we think we've got scams and things in the coin space, just wait until we see what happens when people realize that they go to click the button in their wallet, which is storing this NFT, and it comes up error message because there's no content to be seen. So we've actually looked at this NFT structuring for a couple of years now, and we're starting to share some of our internal workings as to, it's again, everybody, the rabbit and the hare. The rabbits are out there running around, and we are the slow turtle. Why? Because we have been doing enormous extensive due diligence in the sectors that we see of the value proposition for the value of your ZuCoins. Because at the end of the day, we want the ZuCoin, which is a top priority, get it right. Again, mass distribution, no issues in terms of how you move that coin between each other, no issues about the security or the speed, and certainly no issues about waiting for someone else to validate what you want to do between each other as participants. That's the difference with the split chain network. Now, the next stage, of course, is utilizing and finding an end user case for each and every product line that we introduce for the use of those coins. And the UDAs is a classic example. So in 2019, our teams did an enormous amount of research as to where are the flaws, where is the industry heading, without looking back saying, well, hang on, we need to solve the storage problem of the UDAs, the unique digital assets, because they are a digital asset that is unique, which gives you some protection as a consumer to stay, well, I can actually find out where the hell my UDA is. Now, in our concept, what Robert's been looking through is that we want to unleash the capacity for everybody in the ZooCas world that's, obviously looking at the augmented reality component, three-dimensional forms, all of those things that's your data. I can't press this hard enough, this point, that our business model is about retention of your data in all forms, digital data, that you have control of, that you are in the position to make money from, and more importantly, in every concept, that you can switch things on and off as you see, as you're interacting in the groups. Now, the beautiful thing about the split chain is that we can take another version of the split chain, because the way the coins operate, and this is where the fungible word comes in, it just means that you can't, it is in the simplest form, the coins themselves aren't unique, because you're splitting the coins, you're doing fractions, you're interacting with each other. It's not something that's a one-off that has a locked into the blockchain, that's the only thing you can do, which is like a UDA picture that you want to make unique. So in the ZooCas world, the amazing thing is that you can come into, and we'll put in place a specific split chain distinct from the coins, because there's only one step that's required for creating a unique digital asset, a UDA, and that becomes a network in its own right. Now, rather than storing it with even ZooCas or any third party that I've just indicated, the NBA, or reliant upon some bloke out there that's created a picture and said, I'll keep the server running for the next 30 years, when in reality, we all know what can happen to companies and how they collapse and what things it can do with servers and things. And money is a big issue, because it's no good somebody storing a UDA or an NFT rather, and finding out that they need to make money to cover the server costs, the hosting costs of the very item that you think is very special. So the split chain capability of the UDAs is such that it's another network controlled by the peers that, in fact, if you want to go into, say, and create a UDA, look, just as a quick example, it may be a UDA relating to AFL sports, Australian Football League sports. Now, subject to licensing and all that sort of stuff, but it's just an example. You may find that there's a community of like-minded peers in the ZooCaz world, and they all love AFL football players. So the capability we have is that you as a consumer, subject to licensing, and the AFL is probably not a good example, but it's just so that you can get the image of creating unique digital assets. You may have that you've got a like-minded group of people, and that might be 400,000 or 500,000 people that register in relation to wanting to participate in AFL UDAs. Now, because that's a separate network and because they're keeping the network alive through the split chain concepts, that network is reliant upon itself to maintain the integrity of how that content is stored within that network through each of the individual peers and their phones, etc., etc. So the network becomes the reliant factor, not an individual company or person or single group that relates to NFTs, which eliminates that risk element of where the hell is my NFT? So we expect that as a consumer, you'll be able to come in, and a better example would be, say, let's in a family environment. Now, you may have groups of friends and people, and you decide that, you know, your network, if you think of the influencers, we're sort of taking ZooCaz and our community to an influencer level comparable with, say, Twitter. Now, you may have 3,000 followers, and those 3,000 followers in your world are all interested in things that you wish to mint, which our system would allow you to take a photo of things of interest. And those things of interest may be as simple as cakes, that you are a guru in making cakes, you love your online shows, and you want to make a unique digital profile of each and every cake or a number of those. And your 3,000 followers become that network community. They've all registered to your cake site as such, and they keep alive the content of which you've now minted through the split chain, which makes each and every single image special, unique, and importantly, stored within that community of 3,000 people that allows it to keep going and alive, if you like. So once we're going to allow you to take that image and create your own UDA and make it valuable, then you will be able to use the platform to trade that as well, because it's as simple as creating a voucher, and with that voucher, you insert the details of that image, that unique digital asset that you've created, and you are there ready to rock and roll and start trading that image, which is unique and verifiable against the split chain, to make some money. And you can make that money yourself. And this may be in a three-dimensional form. It may be an augmented reality, that we're going to open up the gates to you as the individual to allow digital assets that are unique and special in your world to increase the turnover and increase the use of the ZooCoin. Now, well, how does the ZooCoin relate to that? Because ZooCoin becomes the underlying coin of preference and ease of buying and selling the very collectibles that you're putting out to the marketplace. Now, this is a massive market. This is everything that you can imagine, ranging from unique gift cards produced for wedding anniversaries, Father's Day. It takes on a whole new world on itself, that contained within that unique digital form and image, you will be able to back end that with actual value through what you may transport with your ZooCoin as well. So if mum and dad having a special anniversary, then of course you're in a position to create something unique and special for them. You're able to add a bonus. It might be $100 or $200 or $1,000 of ZuCoin value that they can then cash in or go online and buy other things of value or use that with the merchant network. It also opens itself up to the merchants, because the merchants can say to you that we have created, and they can do this in their own time through ZUCAS, a special, unique digital asset that's a one-off. It may be for hamburgers. It may be for all sorts of things, and it could be a three-dimensional, spinning cup of coffee. That particular cup has contained within it the next 5,000 cups of coffee are free on redemption, which creates that intrinsic value. So this is a whole new world of taking where NFTs are at today more as a intriguing, it's a higher risk digital asset that's been put to the market, and there hasn't been a lot of thought about the consequences of where these NFTs will end up. I mean, if you're crazy enough to spend $1.6 million on buying an NFT rock, for all intents and purposes, that just brings to play the highest level of stupidity that people are looking at, because the risk factor in that is, well, where is the content stored as a result of it being in the blockchain? And again, it's still reliant on that Ethereum blockchain for proof of stake to make sure that if I then wanted to send that and sell that $1.6 million NFT to a third party, I'm now still at the behest of a group of so-called stakeholders to do the transaction at a cost, by the way, in order for that to be transferred. Now, in the split chain world, that's where we have overcome the issues of that third-party reliance in every sense. Again, there are no stakeholders as in Ethereum. There are no miners as in Bitcoin in order to validate. There are no transaction fees. The ease of moving these valuable collectibles, that is unique digital assets, that's all they are, glorified digital assets that are unique from one person to another, has been simplified because of the ZuCoin split chain processes that we've set out to build. And that's the key to why we wanted to share these live moments. I wanted to share these live moments with you to give you more of an insight as to some of the exciting developments that are, there's no limit to the imagination once you start thinking about these things through the ZUCAS world on the one hand, and of course the ZuCoins, which is the glue for what it should be, what crypto was meant to be. That is a transfer of value, the ability to buy anything you like, goods and services. The fact that you can use it as an identifier with other products and things, which is what we're looking at with these unique digital assets, and opening up a business model that puts the consumer and the merchant together and in the box seat to communicate and share that old-fashioned advertising that we've been used to for far too long. The days of page impressions and the days of bringing ads to my attention are long gone. Those days will be changed with the ZUCAS business model as a result of that. So I'm pleased to be able to share with you a bit of an insight. We have some internal documents, so I probably won't push those out just yet because there are some highly confidential coding material in that as to how we've solved the NFT storage issue through the split chain network, which will be referred to all the time as UDAs. It's a lot easier to say, actually. Non-fungible. I mean, fair dinkum, might as well be called bananas. But, the reality is, let's stick to what it really is, and that's what we can generate through our exciting networks. And I can't wait for the communities to start to evolve at a private level. I can't wait for people to have the exciting times with they becoming leaders and people followers of what they want to show and share and create, as a unique digital asset. And simply, it could be things like sharing family photos that you want to privately keep, and you're not looking to make money. You're just looking that these are stored within that family community through this new split chain concepts. So other than that, I'm going to sign off now for everybody. I hope that sort of makes a bit of sense. Certainly do your homework on NFTs. We've bought NFTs here to experiment with. The costs are horrendous. The gas fees on the Ethereum network are horrendous. The delays and the transferability, etc. The risks are enormous. So if you think you've been speculating on crypto, think again before you start wandering into the NFT space. UDAs, that'll be an exciting space that puts the control, as I said, back to you guys, and allows an industry to evolve in a common sense approach. So take care, everybody. Be kind to each other. Look forward to the next update tomorrow, which we're looking at episode 7. This is one that's close to my heart, extremely passionate about, because it really accelerates the formula MV equals PT. And that's all about the quantity theory of money and why I believe, the values of ZuCoin is going to really hunt down where Bitcoin's sitting. Even though it's dropped recently to 43,000 US dollars, that's not out of the question for where I believe we see, given the ecosystems and the product lines. So the next product line, ladies and gentlemen, will be all about that great elusive lottery that really is accelerating the transactional growth as well, in conjunction with the velocity of movement of our coins and how that's going to operate. And some interesting insights that it's not something that I've dreamed up. I'm going to share with you that these concepts were actually started back in the year 1717, 304 years ago. So we're not as clever as we think. There's a lot of other clever people out there for centuries. We just forget that things happen. Watch history. And more importantly, watch history, because I've been through one crash in 1987, and there's ominous signs out there that we could be heading to another. And let's think about how we protect that. And crypto may be the answer for that protection. Take care, everybody. Cheers.